Hello and welcome along. It's Andy, your host on this here podcast. Well, here we are, episode 11. This one is with the first non-Asian contributor, Toastmaster extraordinaire Geoff Harris, whose backstory is incredible. Who would have guessed where he came from and what he did for a living before Toastmastering? So, please enjoy episode 11, Geoff Harris, Toastmaster. Here we are, episode 11 or 12, 11 I think. We're sat in the most glorious garden in the middle of the Leicestershire countryside, so if you can hear birds going rat rat and trains and birds tweeting, then that's why, and I make no apology for it because it's glorious out here. Welcome, Geoff. Thanks very much for joining me on the podcast.
A pleasure, Andy. I've been listening to them avidly since number one, and it's nice to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now, you are a Toastmaster of note, some repute, I would say. How does somebody become a Toastmaster?
Oh, that's a long story as well. Bottom line, anyone can put on a red coat and start shouting about, but believe it or not, I'm trained. And training took me a long time. It took me about 7 years to complete my training, to go from I want to be a Toastmaster to being a fellow of the National Association of Toastmasters.
7 years?
Yeah.
7 years training to become a Toastmaster?
Yes, I mean, a lot of it was by remote learning, then turning up to be to watch Toastmasters, being assessed as I worked by other Toastmasters, and then that got me up to being a full member of the association, and then another 3 to 4 years after that before I was assessed by the fellowship board.
Wow.
Apparently it means that I am qualified to cater for any function anywhere at a moment's notice.
Now, you said earlier on anybody can put on a red coat and shout about, and we've all seen that at weddings here and there. So, having spent 7 years training and gaining the skills that you've got, how do you look at those people?
I just think, well, why didn't you book me? Basically. It's a shame because it damages what people's perception of what we do.
Okay.
So it hits every decent Toastmaster.
And of course, you're far from just weddings. Obviously, you do a whole range of things.
Oh yeah, I mean, last Tuesday I was doing an Indian wedding in Hertfordshire, and then on Wednesday, the following day, I was in the City of London doing a prize-giving award ceremony for the Worshipful Company of Cordwainers in the City of London.
And what do cordwainers do?
Cordwainers make shoes.
Oh, okay.
Cobblers repair shoes.
Yeah.
Cordwainers make shoes.
There you go, folks. If nothing else, you've learnt something today.
There you go.
Cordwainers.
Stick with us, Andy. We'll go far.
Absolutely. And that wide range of events, is that why it takes 7 years to learn to...
Yeah. I mean, the anywhere, anytime with anyone goes from royalty down to, in palaces, down to Mr. and Mrs. Singh at the village hall.
Yeah, sure.
And I've got to be able to deal with all of those and everything in between. Okay.
And your role as Toastmaster... is it to organise, or is it to describe what your role actually is?
Okay, on a typical wedding day, I will take the plan that's been made and try and make sure that happens, so that the bride and the bridegroom, and then rippling out their families, immediate families, are able to sit back, relax, and enjoy their day. All the different agencies. And this is an ideal situation, I stress that. All the different agencies, venue, caterers, photographers, videographers, jibsmen, whatever, they all, if you like, go through me, so that no one goes off on their own and blows the plan out of the water. I sort of like got an overall view of everything.
And who makes that plan for you to stick to?
The couple. Okay. The couple or whoever is organising their wedding.
And at what point do they approach you? Is it early doors so that they can make sure that you're an integral part of it, or do you sometimes get those late calls where it's just like, we need somebody to officiate?
And it's both. It's both. Some are really well organised. I get a lot of work from people who've seen me work, and they will book me quite early. Others, I will turn up. I had a wedding a month ahead.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's a year, 18 months, 2 years ahead. Sometimes it can be as a month ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so life before Toastmastering, tell me what did you do?
You're going to love this. You are going to love this.
Go for it.
Since I was a clown.
Really?
Yeah, I was a clown.
Okay.
My wife and
hang on. What you ran? You at the age of 15, you ran off with the circus?
Effectively.
Okay.
It wasn't. I wasn't quite as young as that. My wife and I were both teachers, and I taught for 10 years, and the clowning thing had gone on in spare time. I'd been doing kids' parties and stuff like that for a few years, and then we got to the stage. I had a good job. I was head of a department and all the rest of it, and I thought, nah, there's more to it, and so we gave it up ostensibly for a year. And this was in 1980 something or other, 85, 86, ostensibly for a year. And it took off. It just took off. And we had all kinds of, we did the clowning, traditional kids party stuff. And then we had a comedy fire engine built. And so we did the gala circuit on that, and then Centre Parks in Nottinghamshire opened, which is only 50 minutes up the road from us, in 1985, and we were in on that, and we still work for them.
Okay.
Do work for them, not clowning, but other work. And then other things happened, like we jumped onto the recycling wagon at a really good time, and we wrote initial show called What a Load of Rubbish, and it was about recycling and picking up dog mess. And we toured, and schools councils fell over themselves to book us to do this
because it was the latest
latest thing.
Yeah.
And when we started that, recycling wasn't what it was today. I mean, recycling was a word that people heard on Blue Peter at the time, and they were the ones who really got kids going in on the recycling. So it was that long ago, and then it sort of like developed. So we called that show between ourselves the Scrap and Crap Show. Then we wrote another one called Son of Scrap and Crap, except we gave it another title, and so we ended up with 2 shows. And then we wrote another one with 3 shows, and it just went on, and that kept us going for a very long time. And then an agent who used us said, look, I've got a job, a plan. I need someone to put together, and it's a knockout to go touring around the Butlins holiday camps. So we thought, we can do that. I had not got a clue. So we signed our lives up for that, borrowed heavily off our mums and dads, and built this huge, it's a knockout, enormous inflatables, a 10,000 gallon swimming pool that we shipped around with us. And we couldn't do it because we still had summer commitments, and also we needed to make sure that some money was still coming in, because we weren't going to get paid for this. And so we went down the local job centre and hired a load of lads. We packed them up on this bus that we'd bought that had bunks and everything in it, and sent them off around the Butlins. So they did Scotland on the Monday, Pwllheli on the Tuesday, Skegness on the Wednesday, Bognor on the Thursday, Minehead on the Friday, back home, and off they go again on the following day. And they had a ball.
Yeah.
They had an absolute ball. They had a high-profile job. They were bronzed, and they were very popular. So that was that, and then the clowning, we weren't balloon modelers, we weren't magicians, we were very active, tumbling, slapstick, fall over, get up, knock down clowns. So about 20 years ago, when I got to my 70th birthday, I decided I needed something that was a little less physically demanding.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in bed one Saturday morning listening to Radio 4. That makes me sound really boring, doesn't it? Sitting in bed on a Saturday morning listening to Radio 4.
Yeah.
And there was an article about a lady Toastmaster. And it was one of those light bulb moments, I thought, yeah, that's it, ka-ching. And I thought, I like a bit of history and tradition, and I'm a bit of a show-off. I like dressing up sometimes when I go out, so why not? Let's give it a go. And that was it.
I think frustrated showman, basically, isn't it?
Out and out.
You'd have been in a rock band if you could play an instrument.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
That's a really interesting background. So, what's the what was the worst job that you'd had prior to coming into Toastmastering? Is Toastmastering a term? What do you call it?
Yeah, Toastmastering's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I'll put your name to it. But
thank you very much.
Worst job, gosh. There were some moments in teaching when I thought, nah, I've had enough of this. As I decided in the end, let's face it, there's only so much teenage diffidence and so many whatevers that you can take before you do lose the will to live.
Absolutely. One thing I do know, and I see it on your social media, is you're keen. You're a keen motorcyclist as well, aren't you? So tell me, because it's quite an old motorbike, isn't it?
Yeah. I've got two. I've got a modern Triumph.
Okay.
And then I've got this 1957 Ariel.
Oh,
which
really?
He's a gentleman. Yeah. He's called Bernard.
So in terms of Toastmastering, getting back to it again, career. No, that's all right. That's what it's about. Career milestones in Toastmastering. What would you say was your pinnacle event, if you like? I'm
going to give you two answers to this. One will be a wedding, and another will be a non-wedding event.
An honourable conflagration of somebody or other.
Something or other. I'll start with that one first.
Okay.
And that was last year, again, with the Worshipful Company of Cordwainers. And I was at the Guildhall in London as Toastmaster for their 750th anniversary.
Wow.
Which is just mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. So there, I was there. My dad worked in a factory. My mum was a bookkeeper in a butcher's shop. And there I was with the Lord Mayor and Lady Mayoress of London, all the great and the good. There was royalty there, and and I think, this is quite cool. This is one of the reasons why I do this.
And those events don't faze you in any way. Don't give you nerves?
No. Well, I get nervous. Yeah,
okay.
I do get nervous because it just gives you a bit of an edge. But the thing with the worshipful companies, they've all been doing it for so long. They have got everything nailed down. And whereas if I was doing something something civic in Leicester with the Lord Mayor of London, Lord Mayor of Leicester and so on, I'd have to do all the research for it myself and work out the forms of words and that to be used.
Okay.
Then that's a lot more difficult than go to the Cordwainers or the worshipful companies, and they give you a script. This is what you will do, and this is the time that you will do it.
Okay.
So they take away a lot of the pressure of the job to do.
Yeah.
And as for weddings, without doubt, it will be an Indian wedding. I just get such a buzz out of Indian weddings. I really do, and I think it will be between. One that I did, both of them actually for Sanjay's. One was a Muslim wedding done last August in Blackburn, and then another one was 18 months, 2 years ago, the red and black wedding done at the IXL.
Okay.
Which was just staggering.
Really?
Just staggering.
In terms of?
Everything, the detail that had gone into it, the thought that had gone into it. It had been a red and black wedding, the theme for it all, and I changed my uniform during the day so that I had my red coat on during the ceremonial part of the day, and then I had my black tails on for the evening, and with a red and white sash, and just someone had gone to the trouble to think in that detail for the job, and stuff like that always impresses me.
Yeah. Did you actually have a goal in mind? When you sort of said, see yourself, I want to be a Toastmaster, that light bulb moment listening to the radio, did you have a goal did you sort of think to yourself, I could do this for royalty, or I want to do weddings, or what was your sort of goal at the
time? Actually, just to get work.
Okay.
At the time, it was just
as simple as that.
It was as simple as that. I had no idea
that
it'd go where it was. I mean, 60% and the direction that it went in. Admittedly, I live in Leicestershire, so but 60% of my work is Indian weddings.
Yeah. Oh, really? That much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I get a lot of work there, obviously. And I had no idea that was going to be the way that it went when I started.
I don't suppose you would at that time.
No.
Do you do white weddings as well? White English weddings?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do. I mean, they're the next on the list.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky, in as much as I have two very good establishments quite near here that use me quite a lot. So that recommend me, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Your approach to social media, I mean, like I see you out on your motorbike and I see you doing this and doing that, but you're not all that prolific, I don't think, in sort of saying, I think there was one for the Cordwainers, wasn't there? There was a photo or something. But you're not you've not got a huge social media presence, I don't think.
No.
Is that a conscious decision, or can't be bothered with it, or don't need it?
Well, actually, all three to a degray.
Okay.
I am lucky enough. I am a busy Toastmaster. I
Yeah.
am lucky enough to be that. Social media, I try to post up a picture from each job that I do. Because, and again, I've tried to establish this little bit of a gimmick thing where there's only a bit of me in each of the selfies.
They're quite funny. Yeah, just your eyes poking through the frame. Yeah.
It's just a idiosyncratic thing, and as I'm not a great fan of it all, and technology I'm not good at.
No,
I really, for Christ's sake, I'm 90 odd.
Not really.
Yeah. So, but yeah, most of my work, I'm lucky, as I say, comes from people referring me or seeing me work.
And what do you think you've learnt about mankind since you switched from clowning to Toastmastering?
People respond to you being polite.
Oh, don't they? Yes.
This
is, just to cut across slightly, this is a peculiarly Asian wedding thing, but DJs can sort of say, please take your seats, please take your seats, please take... Just look at the watch, it's 10 minutes has gone by, the music... Please take your seats, the bride and groom are coming. Nobody even bats an eyelid, nobody listens, nobody pays any attention. Toastmaster comes on, and there's an air of authority, maybe?
Yeah, there is. And when you get this 6-foot-tall white bloke who's been bellowing at you all day, who suddenly shouts out, Saldam, bada bezi jiao, they sit down. People do. That actually, again, is one of the pitches that I use when I'm trying to sell my services to Asian clients, and that is the biggest plus that I have at an Asian wedding is that I am so obviously not family.
Yeah.
And that is huge. That really is huge. I'm not a young man from one side asking an uncle to sit down or move on the other side. Yeah. So there is no offence. I mean, you've seen me work. I'm always polite.
Yeah.
I generally have a smile upon my face. I try to. It's not meant to be a sneer. And people respond. Yeah. People respond to that.
Yeah, I think it's that air of authority, which, I don't know, was that part of your training as a Toastmaster to exude that sort of...
You have to appear to be confident, because if
Yeah.
you're not, who else is going to be?
Yeah, the job turns to shit.
Exactly. That summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I was being allowed to say that.
Well, it's not going out on the BBC or anything, is it? So, I think we can get away with the occasional expletive. Just breaking into the episode again, and I know it's boring, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but please share the podcast. If you're enjoying it, please share it. That's the biggest way you can support what I'm doing. So that's all I've got to say. Let's get back to Geoff and his clowning around. In all those weddings and all that Toastmastering, when was the one time when you thought, yeah, do you know what? I'm pretty good at this job.
Well, that's going to make me think. I think I may have yet to realise that. I'm going to go back a long time now, long time, and
back to when you were only 16.
When I was only 16, so we're talking about the 1900s. This is for a Western wedding and an Indian wedding, and it happened all around the same time, was when I was booked to do another family member.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
And I thought, I must have done a good job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And what I find delightful, and I really do, is particularly with Indian weddings, is that I become the family Toastmaster. There are some families where I have done 4, 5, probably even 6 weddings for that family, and I just love it, because I become a family member.
Yeah.
And people have gone, hey, it's Geoff Bye, and so on, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
That's great. Talk to me about champagne bottles and whipping the top off with a sword.
Not me.
No?
No, I don't touch that.
Okay.
Sabrage, no. No,
Okay.
I've seen too many thumbs go with it.
I've seen it done. I mean, it's a very impressive thing to witness.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't... It's something no, not my cup of tea. There's flash, and then there's rather coolly understated.
Okay. So you're not flash.
One can take however one wishes to take that.
I suppose doing what you do, the pressures of time. Like I was just talking to Bavita earlier on the last episode, and it's work. I mean, she's young, 30 something. And she's work. And it just strikes me from the surroundings that we're in that you take life at a much slower pace. I don't know, do you?
Now I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't used to.
Okay.
And my wife still says that I work too much.
Yeah.
I was out working last night. I was giving a talk last night, but I'm still out there, and I've got another one tomorrow, and then I've got 2 weddings the weekend, and so on. So, I still do, but I've reached the age where I've earned that, Andy. I've worked all my life, and if I want to choose to take a little bit of time off and go out on my motorbike, why not?
No, absolutely. COVID, I would imagine, stuck a huge, great pole axe into the side of everything, didn't it?
It did. Again, the answer that I'd like to refer the honourable gentleman to the answer I've just given. That my wife and we are at the stage where we are quite comfortable. I mean, I do draw a pension, and the house is paid for, and this, that, and the other, and our son's sorted, and blah blah blah. However, I felt desperate for many of my colleagues in the industry. I mean, it just stopped us all stone dead.
Didn't it?
It really did. And I'm just a one-man band.
Yeah.
But you can imagine people like Atul and Sanjay's, the overheads that they still had to find to keep going.
Yeah.
I think staggering, absolutely staggering. So I got round COVID. I did do some work. I mean,
all right.
But it was all online, and I mean, I did. There's a Ukrainian company who run awards ceremonies all over Europe, and I'd been working for them for a few years, and they put them online. So I was Zooming and running these award ceremonies and they had people from all over the world. I mean, I was sitting in that office, shorts on, like now, but with full Toastmaster regalia down to the waist, and there were people from the Philippines and Japan and Vietnam and Chile and all over Eastern Europe and wherever, all zooming in to get these awards. So I did about 4 or 5 of those, and that helped. And then I gave talk. There's a group who at the time, they no longer exist, called Murphy, who organised talks for various people, and I gave the talks and that. So there were a few bits and bobs coming in.
It's a good job you managed to master the technology to do the Zoom Zoom talks, isn't it?
I have to be led through it by the nose by a young person.
Do Toastmasters have a competitiveness between each other, or is there plenty of work to go around? How does that go?
There is competition. There is competition. I'm a member of the National Association of Toastmasters, and we have quite a rigid set of rules. And if we pass on work to another member of the association, then you get a commission. Yeah. And there is an agreement, an implicit agreement, that person will not drop their business cards at that venue or at that job. So that's one area. And the other area is that you get people you can trust to take work from you that you can't cover. I mean, I pass a lot of work on to Toastmaster called Tom Reddy and Paul Deacon. I passed a lot of work on there. Yeah. And I know I can totally rely on those people as they can on me.
Well, I suppose they're trained to exactly the same standards that you are.
We're all in the NAT and so on. Yeah. As for competition, someone phones me up, Andy. I tell them the job that I'll do. I give them a price, and then it's up to them. I'm not going to chase the work.
Okay. Interesting. Tell me about challenging weddings, because obviously your non-wedding work is fairly regimented,
yes.
and so I doubt that they can be challenging in the way that I'm thinking. But talk to me about the odd wedding where maybe people aren't being.
Yeah, well, I've done gypsy weddings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Last August, the wedding I mentioned earlier in Blackburn, it's a Muslim wedding. I was up there on the Friday for part 1, and part 2 was on the Sunday, and in between I had a long standing pre-COVID booking for a wedding in the Heart of England Centre in Meriden. And so I did day 1, evening 1 in Blackburn, drove all the way down to do this wedding on the Saturday. Of course, being a Muslim wedding, absolutely no alcohol. Yeah. And I turned up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they were already on the lash, and and comfortably so. It was a gypsy wedding, and it was great. It was great in a very, very different way.
So did you finish up actually enjoying the experience?
Well, in the end, because I left. I'm not. I leave once the party really gets to begin.
Kicks off, yeah.
I mean, but they had people at this wedding where they had to seat some people in a certain way so that they didn't have eye contact with each other. Otherwise, it would have kicked off.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's all part of life's rich tapestry.
Yeah. Goodness me. Going back to your showman days, let's say your clowning days, what motivated you to go there? What inspired you to I don't know, put on the red nose and go and do that?
I'm a frustrated actor.
Uh-huh.
Right, so that's one. And then I went to Teachers Training College with a chap called Martin Burton, who most people will know as Zippo.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Martin and I are really good mates.
Okay.
And when I was teaching in my first jobs, I'd get him, and he never went into teaching.
Here comes the train again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. He went off and started clowning straight away.
Yeah.
And I got him to come along and do workshops for me at the schools where I was teaching. And I picked up I learned how to juggle, how to eat fire and breathe fire and stuff like that. And then it went on from there, really. So, frustrated actor is how it all began.
Why didn't you actually just go into acting?
Because I'd never have worked. Clowning, a lot more people were open to it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the clowning I started with, I was charging 15 quid to do a 2-hour kids party.
Yeah.
So we're talking 1979, 1980.
Well, that was good money back then.
It was.
Days. Yeah.
Well, it was great because it gave me my beer money and I had a good night out on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then it just grew and grew and grew.
That's really interesting. Any suppliers that get up your nose when you're at weddings, or does everybody basically fall into line and do as they bid?
No, I mean, you always get some people, for whatever reason, that don't actually fit in with what you've got planned in your head.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it may be my job. Another part of my job, and this isn't to do directly with the clients. When you asked me earlier, and I said that I take the plan and make it happen. Another part of my job is to try and ensure that all of the suppliers are able to do the best job they possibly can.
That's the most important thing.
And that's hugely important.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to go around and bellow at photographers and say, oh, you've got 5 minutes, so bring them back here. No, it's because they're not going to be able to do the best work that they can.
No.
And it's massively important to the couple in the end.
Yeah.
All of us, and if one person cocks up, we all look bad.
Completely.
And I try to make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm not going to actually single anyone out. I mean, we all have problems. Photographers will go off and I will say, what time are you going to be back? And I say, I'll need 30 minutes. You can't have 30 minutes. You've got 20, and we'll compromise at 25. And by and large, people do go along with it.
We'll respect that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So one of my sort of usual stock questions is, is this a stepping stone to something else? But I guess at your stage of life, that's now you're 90. Now you.
I've died on stage many times as well, but that's another story. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
No, it's not. I am immensely happy with what I do now. I'm immensely happy. I have a great time. I turn up. I work in some fabulous places. I meet all kinds of really, really nice people, and at events where they by and large having good times, and I get fed. Come on.
Yeah. Well, what more
Yeah.
can you want?
Yeah.
Have you done destination weddings?
No. That is something that I would like to do.
Yeah.
I really would like to do a destination wedding. I've only ever had one. No, it's not true, actually. I've had 1, 2. I was offered a job in Vegas, but I'm horribly old-fashioned.
Okay.
If I've got something in my diary, I won't drop it.
No.
Because, it's a breach of a contract, and I'd be really unhappy if they did it the other way round.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm the same on that one.
So I've
completely.
I've had an invitation to a wedding in Vegas, one in Norway, one in Morocco, but I just wasn't able to do any of them.
Yeah. What a shame. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an education. What were they again? The Honourable...
The Worshipful Company of Cordwainers.
Cordwainers. Got to remember that, folks. That's very good. The one question, of course, that I ask everyone at the end, and you'll doubtless be prepared for this one, is if I could... let's take you back 30 years to when you were just 60. And I can give you the tools and the knowledge and the equipment to do any other job within the wedding industry. What would you do?
If you don't have to take me back that far, and I knew that this question would be coming, and I have given it some thought.
Go on.
But I didn't have to give it a lot of thought before arriving.
Okay.
I'd love to be a dole player.
Really?
Yeah, I love dolls.
There are guys out there that will teach you.
I know. But my take on it is that I would form a company of doll players that arrived on time. What about that then?
And
I'd be rich.
And didn't eat all the food.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys.
I'm sorry too, lads. But it happens.
But that's a genuine. You would.
I love doll. I think they're so exciting.
Yeah.
And especially the modern fashion or the modern trend at the moment of doll players getting up and playing sets with the DJs. It's great. It is brilliant.
Yeah, exciting drumming. You've not heard exciting drumming until you've been in Monte Carlo in the tunnel where the Formula One races go, and you've had I think it was 15 or 16 doll players from Drumline giving it some.
You're just dropping names now. But
I am, but I'll tell you,
I would love that.
That you could hear them from miles away.
Yeah.
And then they came up and they played, and I've got some video on my phone actually. They played on the hairpin.
Yeah.
Opposite the Fairmont there.
Yeah.
What a sound.
Yeah.
And what a thrill, and just gave you goosebumps.
Yeah.
And so I can totally relate to what you're saying there about the excitement of the instrument. I wouldn't mind learning myself.
No.
But it's a very strange rhythmic.
Yeah.
It's 4/4, and that's me.
I'm not known for my rhythm.
No. And on that note.
Yeah.
So again, yes, thank you very much, and much appreciated.
Andy, it's been a pleasure.
I just said thank you. I can't say thank you twice. How do I
was
wrap
good.
this one up? You were good. You were great. Tune in next time, folks, when I'll get it all wrapped around me asked again. Thank you very much.
Don't tell them that, Andy. They'll get killed in the rush.
See you soon. Bye. So there we go. Who knew? A clown. What a background. What a story. Episode 12 will be coming soon. Stay tuned. Thanks for supporting, and please share it. Bye, y'all.